Hello, my name is Tatyana Webb, and this is Off the Record, brought to you by Nana Music Productions. Today, things look a little different in the studio. As you can see, or if you're just listening, we don't have a guest with us. And I did this because I realized that we've had so many talented and inspirational guests on the podcast, but I wanted to give the opportunity for those who don't know me a little bit of my testimony and who I am. I wanted to also share a few projects that we're working on that I think will be very beneficial to not only our listeners, but to our guests and people who actually show up to our events that we'll be having this year. And also just a few more things that we're doing as well. And just, kind of give that 101 with you guys because, it's great to have a guest where we're able to have that collaborative discussion, but I haven't had a discussion with you, the listener, yet. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to do that. So, for those of you who don't know, again, my name is Tatyana Webb. I am the founder and CEO of Nana Music Productions. I am also, obviously, the host for Off the Record. We just started this back last September in 2025, and I wanted to do this platform and create this podcast so that way it gave a space for people who are in the industry, whether you were just starting, whether you've been seasoned into it, a place where you can learn more about the industry, learn more about things that aren't really discussed, showcase your music, and showcase what projects you're working on, hence the off the record. And I just wanted to create something that allows for people's stories to be told. But before all that, I am an artist as well. So I have actually been performing since I was 9 years old. My brother and I, when we were in elementary school, my parents, we all did Broadway auditions. So, like The Lion King on Broadway, The Color Purple. We also did like commercials. I think we did one for Gap and a few others as well. And we would go to Nashville a lot, and we would go there for acting camps, and we would go up to New York, going for singing lessons with some Russian traditional Broadway vocalists, and so that was amazing as a jump start into a theatrical world. My brother got to work with Ron Milkey in one of his classes as well, so that was a really cool thing. And when we were younger, we also did a lot of local plays as well. So we would do different camps, like Shakespeare camp around over here in Montgomery. They have at the Shakespeare Theater, they have like these kids camps, but they also do productions as well. So my brother and I, we would participate in those camps. We would actually participate also in the Southern Writers projects and the readings that they had there, as well as my brother was in like the War of the Roses. I think he was like Prince Edward or something like that. But performance has been going on for a minute for us when we were younger. It transitioned to marching band when we were hitting that middle school, high school age. The performance side of things on the theatrical world kind of subsided, even though we were still part of like our school's theater department and everything. But it shifted because, we started doing marching band. Our parents wanted us to do marching band. And it was interesting because I didn't really play much of an instrument. I sang really well, but there was no musical instrument that I knew yet. And so, uh, if anyone is doing any trivia on me at any point in my life, one thing is my first instrument with the marching band was actually the iPod because I was like the sound engineer's assistant, and I would cue all the voiceovers for the band competitions. Shout out to my former band director, Susan Smith, and her amazing but late husband, Robert W. Smith, who were the core of my musical journey. Because marching band, for some, that's how you got into music. But for me, it was the catalyst, and it was that single moment where it changed my life. Because see, Mr. Smith, he didn't see me just as another student where, like, okay, let's just get you on a music on a instrument and let's push. And really, Miss Smith and Mr. Smith, they weren't like that. They wanted to cultivate a really rich musical environment for these students to be able to learn about music and learn how to chase after that as a career. And I really valued that as a high schooler. But See, I was a marching band, so you have to play an instrument. So Mr. Smith, he brought in a piano, and he basically taught me how to play piano, or at least my scales, within about a 2-week time frame during band camp. And then we started going to band competitions with Bands of America, which shout out Bands of America and DCI. Those are some amazing organizations and platforms for any high schooler and college student that is really passionate about just music and performance. If you have not looked at those two platforms, please take some time and just dive into it. It's basically theatrical level productions on a football field with high schoolers, and it's just these compositions that are amazing. Anyway, I digress. But so because of this, Mr. Smith knew I sang and Miss Smith knew I sang. And so they started integrating me singing as part of the marching band, shows, which at the time it was unheard of. It was like, that was almost taboo a bit because there wasn't really much singers on the stage now, or on the stage, on the football field. Now, in these Bands of America competitions in DCI, they would have voiceovers. They'll have, people singing in the voiceovers. But again, live singing was still unheard of. So they started something beautiful where when I was, well, let's fast forward to my senior year, I was singing Whitney Houston's "I Always Love You," and I was hitting the Belton notes. We were in San Antonio at the Super Regionals for that. Keep in mind, everything's bigger in Texas, right? So our band of about 50 kids was competing to like the second biggest bands that were like 150 and 300 people and all this stuff. So we were known as the little band with the big sound, because it wasn't just our horns and our horn line and our drums and stuff, but we also had like a full on concert rock band on the field with us. Actually, shout out to a lot of the band parents that were supporting and loving during that time. I love you guys so much. But they were so innovative. By one year, we did a rock odyssey, and they took a scaffolding and like this remote control, and basically they built this 12-foot Trojan horse out of metal and everything, and it was remote controlled, and it was a stage. So all of us kids were on this stage holding on to our pianos and guitars and our drum kits and everything. And when they said go, we had to brace ourselves because they hit that little button, and then we were off and we were rolling. And so it was really cool to have that be an entrance into an arena for a band competition as a high schooler. So, but fast forward back to San Antonio. So we were singing, and I was doing the Whitney Houston song, and you know, it was really cool because there was about 30,000 or so people in the audience, and it was surreal and it was amazing. And we got a standing ovation to the point where I couldn't hear the band anymore. I was just watching my drum director saying, "Hey, whatever he was doing with his hands, I was paying attention to that because I couldn't hear anything." We ended up winning our division in we were a little 1A school, so we won our division. So we got to do an encore performance, like at 8 o'clock the next morning, where there were more people. And before we even ended the song, again, I couldn't hear anything. It was such a rush of energy. And it was just like, whoa, how do I do this for the rest of my life? I mean, as a 17-year-old, you're getting a standing ovation in front of 30 to 35,000 people, and you're singing an iconic song. And it's just like, whoa, this is amazing. Oh my gosh. And so the first thing I did when I got off the field was hug my dad. That was first thing that I did. But afterwards, Mr. Smith, he came to me and my parents a few months later. It was during the holiday convocation, and he was like, "She can have a career in music." And at the time, I was going to become a doctor. I thought medical school, try to go that route and, be successful in that. But when he was able to confidently tell my parents, "Yeah, she can have a career in music and do well." And that was just on the musical talent aspects of it. my parents were like, okay, how do we do this? Like it wasn't even a question at that point. So I went from I was set up to go to school and everything in May. Again, this was my senior year. Within a month, I turned around and got accepted to Troy University. And I went to Troy in 2013 in fall. And I started my journey with the music industry program down at Troy. And the very next year, like not even, so that was fall 2013, spring of 2014, not even 2 semesters in, and I'm singing my original music in front of Universal Studios and at City Walk, and performing in Orlando my original music with the band that they had there, Populous, which they still do have Populous at Troy University. So if you're ever looking for a really good concert and to see how that entity is like creating music and creating it's basically a incubator for the music industry students there at Troy. So it's pretty cool how they developed their music industry program. So if you're interested, go check them out. But as a again 18-year-old, just 19-year-old, I'm singing my original music in front of crowds, and it was amazing. And so I finished my program. We did tours, we did different recording projects. We learned the ins and outs of the industry, and I actually landed a pretty cool internship up in Nashville with RCA Inspiration. So shout out to Sony and to everybody up there, Phil Thornton and Timon Bacon and Justin Tomlinson and all of them. They were amazing. I really valued that internship, and it taught me real world, and it taught me real industry, and it also motivated me because it was like this record label, of course it's connected to an engine that is Sony, but this record label was in its core maybe about 10 or 11 people, and and they were managing not businesses, but artists like Kirk Franklin and Marvin Sapp and Donald Lawrence and Corinne Hawthorne and all these people, Leandria Johnson, Travis Green. It was really cool with Travis Green. I got to be at the Crossroads opening or live recording, and so that was a pretty cool experience there. But with that, it taught me what it can look like to run a company like that. And I was like, okay, this is in Nashville. I'm sure there's like hundreds of thousands of those up in Nashville. Why don't we have anything like that in Montgomery? Why don't we have anything that is in a perfectly situated location between Nashville, Atlanta, New Orleans? You got to come through to even get to Orlando if you're coming from anywhere else. And so it was just like, how do we create a company that can, provide the same things as a record label? But I noticed a lot of artists, because we would do like artist evaluations and stuff, some of them didn't make the cut. And I was like, well, what happens to those artists when they don't make the cut? And, that wasn't really a real question that I asked them, but it was an internal one. And I was like, huh, okay. So me as an artist, I was like, what team would I want as as an artist? And I started mapping that out. And I was 22, 23 years old when I was doing all this. At the time, I also was putting out my album. So I have my album, Unconditionally Beautiful. And that one is, I'll get a little more to that. But between that album and then like my music video that I did, it showed me all the steps that it really took to be able to, put music out there, and then also be on stage and everything, and really be that rock star kind of level. I got to be a part of some pretty cool tribute bands, and shout out again to Jilla Webb, because I was actually with her for a season. So if you haven't listened to the last recording, go listen to that. But yeah, so it was really cool to see how the basically how the industry worked. And it wasn't just RCA Inspiration. It was all of the big, engines up there that, we would go to mixers and we would go to different album release parties and, different scouting opportunities was really cool. So it was just, again, perspective. Um, so in the middle of making my music video, Rebel, I was like, okay, I have to develop an entity to be able to operate, do this music video, have some contracts, get everybody lined up for extras and stuff like that, hire, lighting, sound, all that stuff, makeup artists, and, have a trailer, all those things. So it was a lot of the business side of it. And I realized that I had to shift myself from a artist standpoint to a entrepreneur, because I realized that it was more than just the music. It was more than just the art. It was the business and the strategy and you had to be able to know what you are doing, know the vision, and then be able to communicate that to whoever you're bringing on to your team. So that was a eye-opening moment for me as an artist. So fast forward a little more, so I end up getting a different career, in a different position, and that's as much as I can say on that. But through that, it taught me a lot as well, and it only enhanced what I knew about, or not knew, but what I wanted to incorporate into this company, Nana Music Productions. And so this was all in 2018, and so for the first 5 years, I think it was 5 years, so that's what, 2023. So I learned a lot about myself, because a lot of what I was doing, I was either doing by myself, or I had family, or I had friends. Shout out to Marcus Dorsey. I know this will probably date the podcast, but his birthday was on the 23rd of January, so I'm blasting that out. So you guys go tell him happy birthday, because he's our creative director and he's amazing, and he has been my day one with this company. I also have another day one, Mary Caitlin Bowington. So whenever she decides to come back, I'm blasting her right now because I love her so much and I miss her so much. So, but all to say, the three of us, we were unstoppable. I mean, we were doing things that, it was wild. And that's when we started doing some other initiatives with some other artists, then started, helping out others. And it kind of opened up the gates of like, okay, I love this. Okay, how do we expand this? Now, 2024, or really 2023 into 2024, I went on a hiatus. I'm not going to lie. I had a personal downtime, and I didn't realize how much I missed this energy with the business and everything. And so 2025 was kind of like my wake up. So we restarted the company. I knew more about business by then. And I laid the foundation for the company. And within a month, I had an event that I was already pushing. I realized that I was able to exercise a lot of these like real fast paced events, and they were big events. And so turnaround about 30 days, I pushed an event and, had a really good following for that. And, it was like dead radio silence to full on participation from the community. Fantastic. Fast forward, get my team in the spring, get some artists in the spring, some booking artists, and we started rolling. And so spring last year, summer last year, we had our Juneteenth Freedom Fest for the first year. It was amazing. We had a beautiful turnout, and this year's just going to be even better. So if you're interested in being a vendor or a partner or anything like that, please comment or reach out to me, because we are in that planning phase right now, and we're finalizing a few things. But that was also another 30-day turnaround event, because we got permission from the venue a little later than we would want it to. But it was like, hey, because, we just wanted to make sure that everything was on the up and up, and we were able to move forward with it. Um, and then, we've really been pushing on different areas with the company, and on and on. It's just, and then also the podcast. So it's starting to grow, it's starting to develop. And the reason why I felt like we needed to take a pause and, kind of talk about where I came from with everything is I'm 31 now. And I started all of this when I was really, really starting all this when I was 17 and when I was like, how can I do this for the rest of my life? And it really took a lot of that, refining and those, trial and error and, all those, left turns before you get it right. And it was just like a lot of artists, a lot of producers, a lot of just people in business, and it doesn't matter your industry, but there's so many people that, get it wrong the first times, and they are just, pushing out of sheer, perseverance and everything just to try to get it right. And the thing is, if somebody has already gotten it right, or at least has gotten a little bit of a blueprint in place to share with others, then why don't you share? So that way we can continue to grow. So that's kind of segueing me into why I also wanted to take this moment because um, just as another update in the Tatyana world of things and non-music production world of things, I am finishing up soon writing a book. So this is going to be our first of many books. Actually, I've been working on a few of them, so this is just one that we're about to publish soon, called Concept to Concert. And this is a playbook for musicians, artists, anybody, industry professionals who want to know how to get their concept to concert. Now, concert doesn't necessarily mean just the stage. It just means out to the global theater and out to the people who they're trying to listen to. So and try to be heard. So it applies to more than just the artist. So I have a character, Dre, that in the book you follow his story, and it's basically your story too. And I say basically because it's just like there are some people who have gone through the artist track, but just again, whatever journey you're on, it speaks to you. So, and it's again, a playbook. So it's going to strategize and help you build the infrastructure to be able to take that idea, that creative spark idea, and execute it and make it into a tangible product, service, intellectual property, whatever it is. So I do want to read you a little bit of an excerpt from it, just to kind of get you uh, a little teaser into it, but also, set up some expectations and just kind of see how that is. So this is from chapter 1, which is all about developing the concept. And so I will now read. Dre hit publish just after midnight. Another single, another link, another chance it might finally catch. He stared at the screen, refreshing the page. 3 plays in the first hour. One was probably his own. One might have been his cousin. By the next morning, he was questioning the mix. By that night, the song. By the end of the week, himself. The worst part wasn't that it flopped. It was that nothing happened at all. No traction, no conversation, no momentum, just silence. Dre wasn't chasing a vision, he was chasing a reaction. He didn't know who the music was for or what it was supposed to lead to. He was just doing what artists are told to do. Stay consistent, keep dropping, don't overthink it. But underthinking it wasn't working it but underthinking it wasn't working either. Now, Dre is fictional, but his story isn't. He represents thousands of artists quietly uploading real music into a system that was never built to reward guessing. The industry doesn't punish lack of talent, it punishes lack of clarity. Concept is the decision to define who you are before the audience, the algorithm, or the industry decide for you. Concept to Concert is a strategic playbook for artists, producers, and creators who are tired of guessing their way through the music industry. Rather than chasing trends or waiting to be discovered, this book teaches you how to define your identity, clarify your intention, and build a creative career with structure, direction, and longevity. This isn't about motivation. It's about responsibility. From concept to execution, this book shows you how to stop reacting and start designing a career that can actually support the weight of your talent. So if you're interested in something like that, you are more than welcome to reach out to us. We will be setting up a pre-sale soon. So if you're interested in that, just email info@nanamusicproductions.com and just send us like your name and like first, last name, and then of course some way that we can contact you. So that way we can share with you when we officially drop the book. Now, what's really cool is not only are we pushing this playbook, we are also pushing workshops that go along with the playbook. So what's really cool is next month we're going to be starting this series, again, concept to concert, and we are going to be going after some of these chapters. So if you are very interested in participating in that as well, email us info@nanamusicproductions.com. So that way you are able to, again, know when we're going to start doing those things. Follow us on Instagram and on social media. That's where we're going to be promoting this. So if that's something that you're interested in, we'll be starting our first workshop in Montgomery. I think we'll be at the Sanctuary. So if you haven't been over there, please go ahead and check out their amazing venue over there. And also check out the previous podcast with Robert Shemp. We got to talk a little bit about their mission with the Sanctuary. And then we'll be going to Auburn as well, Auburn, Alabama. We have some partnerships over at Auburn University, so we'll be touching base over there. And then in April, we'll be going to Birmingham. So what's really cool about Birmingham in April is we are also going to be doing our next SoundLink event. So if you got to join us last year for SoundLink, this is going to be a next level event. The first SoundLink, yeah, sure, it was great because it was, networking with amazing musicians and the showcase and all that stuff. Well, this time SoundLink is more than just a networking event. It is going to be kind of like a mini convention or like a mini conference, because we'll have some amazing and seasoned music industry professionals in the room. And they're going to do a panel discussion with you guys, answer some questions for people who are interested in that. Of course, the speed networking part of it as well. Dinner and food will be provided in the room, vendors as well. If you are a music vendor or a vendor who would like to network and work with different musicians or professionals or producers or whoever, again, reach out to us at info, because that is going to be our key contact location. So that way we can get you spun up on any of the vendor and, those booths and everything that we'll be having. And we'll also have a songwriters round as well, because we used to do our songwriters round in the round, but that had to stop for a little bit. So now we're bringing it back and we're integrating it with our SoundLink event, because we want people in the room to hear the people that we support. And we want to make sure that, the artists that we're booking and everything like that get a chance to kind of, showcase their talents as well, because we want to showcase original music. And if we can give a platform for that, then we want to do that. And then if you are, not necessarily in the songwriter round itself, we still have that showcase available, but all of our showcase applicants have to apply beforehand. So there won't be a open mic kind of moment where you can just kind of run up and do your thing. Everything will be screened and selected and, and then also added to the list. So if you want feedback from industry professionals and want to take your shot, that's the shot that you take. So just so you know. But before I end this podcast, I know I end most of my episodes with words of advice. And I always ask my guests, what's something that our listeners can take away? And what is something that they can, apply to their lives, something that, is valuable. And I have a few of these. And I just wanted to kind of run through them for you guys, because again, I value you guys. I want you to be successful. Consider this kind of like a one-on-one moment for our people of the industry who are, seasoned or, have more years in the industry than I do. Just, hopefully echo this to people who come to you for advice. And for those who are, just getting started or, young in the industry, I want to make sure that, you have people who support you. And I just want you to know that Nana Music Productions, we do provide these things for you, because we want to make sure that we are your team on that too. But let me get into a few of these things. So, one thing is, I've noticed a lot of our artists, and I say our, but just artists in general, they come in thinking that, we're their one-stop shop solution for everything, including the financing part of it. And the thing is, we are that team. We are your team 100%. We provide everything, again, from concept to concert. We help you develop what your plan is, what your vision is, and we make it into a physical entity, whatever that may be. We've done a lot, but one thing that I've noticed a lot of artists try to do is they think that we're going to finance or give it for free. And the thing is, like I said, with my journey, you have to think like an entrepreneur. You got to have that business mindset. How can you expect others, whether that is your audience, businesses, partners, whatever, how can you expect others to invest in you when you haven't invested in yourself? So with that, that is the financial part of it. So if you're going to ask a team or ask a company to come in and help you with something, you need to be setting aside a budget for that because it's not a handout. It's not there will be like that one and I don't know however many chances that there will be a person where a business will take a full leap on and be like, you know what, don't even worry about the cost. We will get to that later. We just want you to go. And that is like, a shooting star moment. But when it comes down to the like most artists, especially independent artists, that is not reality. You have to have a budget. You have to have a financial plan. You have to have something in place that shows that you mean business because thinking business minded doesn't kill the creativity. It keeps that structure. It has that clarity that we mentioned earlier in the reading. Because when you don't have that clarity, you can't communicate that to someone that you're pitching your idea to, then they don't know where you're going. And if you don't know where you're going, then okay, you're lost. And or someone will tell you where you're going and then you won't have that choice. So while you still have that choice, go ahead and start thinking about how you want to arrive within the music industry. How do you want to arrive to your listeners? How do you want to, what kind of artist do you want to be? And how do you want to execute that? You have to think about everything on that level because, again, if you don't, somebody will or you just won't make that movement. So not everything is an impulse. You have to be strategic with your movement and strategic with your commitment to yourself. So one thing that I say is if you do a budget, which you should, but if you do a budget in your music expenses. So if you know you want to do a music video, you want to do a concert or whatever whatever your goals are, put that aside in your budget. Think about it. Go back to my question. How do you expect others to invest in you if you don't invest in yourself? Think about how much it takes, how much time it takes somebody to be able to build up that residual uh, money, income, whatever it is, so that way they can then go out and have a good time. And then using that money and knowing what they want to do, which is to have fun, then making the choice to invest that in you. That's a commitment. That's a big commitment that you're asking somebody to do. You're asking somebody to work the 40 hours, the 80 hours, whatever the hours are per, week, every 2 weeks, whatever, and invest that extra money, which at this time in the economy, not a lot of people have, but have that extra to be able to then invest in you and what you're doing. So the thing is, they're not necessarily investing in you, they're actually investing in themselves and how they want to feel and the experience they get to have. So, what do you offer? What is your offer to them to invest in? So, that's just something that, just a little food for thought on that. And again, I'm just looking through my quick little notes because again, I just want to make sure we stay on time. But keeping that entrepreneurial mindset, time and money and energy, take care of yourself. There's something that, musicians get that burnout real easy, especially if they're doing that day job, night job, plus the music, plus the, late night gigs. Get some sleep. Make sure that you take care of yourself and have a recovery day. And, because if you don't take care of yourself, then the creativity won't flow. You'll get into, a lull, or you'll get yourself so busy that you just won't be productive. And again, echoing what my father says and paraphrasing it a little bit, don't mistake activity for productivity. So don't mistake that you are doing a lot means that you are accomplishing anything. Also, something that I've noticed as well with correspondence with different artists and people, be professional. Uh, there's a lot of artists, there's a lot of people that I've noticed that they think that you're their friend because you want to help them. And there's something about being friendly and being your friend. Don't come to a person that you're asking to help being like, "Hey, you're gonna help me or not? Like, do you want to do this or not?" Like, use proper grammar, use a respectful tone, be genuine, and be humble. Now, humble doesn't mean not have confidence. So be confident in yourself and be passionate about what you do, but be respectful. I mean, and show that I have that business mindset and I see this as an investment that I am trying to make happen. So I want you to come along with me, partner like that. So they're not your friend. You're trying to gain a partner. Um, Also, when you are entering a room, know the room, and something that I also say is, do not walk into a room and not be the solution to a problem. So if you're an artist and you are trying to pitch yourself to a label, to an investor, to a festival, whatever, you are the solution to their problem. So I want you to think about that, not in an arrogant way, but in okay, I'm not going to present more problems for you. I'm going to provide this service. I'm going to provide this XYZ. So it gives you that mindset of you're easy to work with for others, as well as it's collaborative and there's ownership in what you do, but also it takes a burden off of them to the point where they're like, oh, okay, they are now again a partner. It's partnership. So but yeah, so those are my little big sister slash advisor kind of role on that. So but thank you so much for listening. I know we have a lot of things coming in, so again, if you are just trying to get in contact with us for either the to get part of our workshops or get one of those, get the playbook, concept to concert, send us an email at info@nanamusicproductions.com. If you're interested in being a guest on the show, please let us know as well. You can email the info at again, or you can reach out to us on a DM on Instagram. So if you reach out to all of us on Instagram, either through Nana Music Productions, then we'll give you a form for you to fill out and be able to schedule your time, and we'll have our evaluation of your show and kind of work that out. So if you're interested in being a podcast, that's how you can do that. If you are interested in, working with us as an artist, again, go to info and just email us there, or you can DM us again on Instagram too, because we want to work with you. But again, kind of going back to what I said, when you're ready to work with us, we're here. So when you're ready, we'll be waiting. And I just want to make sure that you know that we are wanting to be your partner and your team. And then also, if you have an event festivals, event organizers, step on up, because we do have a roster of artists and musicians that are looking to be booked for the 2026 season. And it's already starting to book up really big. So if you want to get on our calendar, please reach out to us at booking@nanamusicproductions.com. Also, if you are looking for internships, we do offer that as well with the company. So, again, this is like a really big pitch up with the company and Nana Music Productions, but it's just kind of giving you an insight of what all we do. Like, we do workshops, we have internships, we have bookings, we have, we provide private events, we have corporate events, we have a few conventions that we're working on right now. And it's just like, we do a lot. We got books now. So we're really starting to expand this year, and it's going to be a really, really cool year. In previous podcast episodes, I said 2025 was the year of preparation. 2026 is the year of expectation. So thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard, you can follow the podcast at Nana Music Productions _off the record. You can also follow us at Nana Music Productions, or you can also follow me at web.webb at words. Oh my goodness. webb.tatyana M. And just remember, this podcast was off the record.